Yeah, my volume's on. Oh, there. Wait, is that you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
That's weird. Okay. So I have like the big mamba jamba. I have like the jar. Oh, buco. Yeah, 5 pounds. 5-pound bucket. Also, I use, when I prep my prints, I use sandpaper and some encaustic gesso. If you don't have either of those things, that's okay, but I will demonstrate.
I do have I have a small one, and
oh yeah, okay. That's not encaustic gesso. The encaustic gesso, you can use it. You can use it. You should use encaustic gesso is this one. It's made by RNF, and it's okay. It's okay. You're just not supposed to put wax. You're not supposed to put wax on acrylic gesso because the wax could crack or come off. So I think we'll be okay today. We'll just do it, and if you can buy some encaustic gesso in the future, that's great. Okay, so I'm just cleaning my palette, just because I paint right off my hot plate, so I'm just cleaning on it. And I had some red encaustic paint. I'm going to take that off because we're just going to work the medium today, and we're just going to talk about underpainting a little bit and prepping your prints. So I print too. I don't know what size you're printing, but I print on 17 by 22 or 11 by 17. And then depending what size my actual photograph is, I might have, like we talked about upstairs, I might have white borders, right, or edges. So I'll show you how to mask it. I also have a straight edge ruler that I use. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, do whatever. So like for these, for example, because they're all on one page, right? I have to separate them, right? So I could do a bunch of different tearing methods, and I'll show you. So my straight edge, right? So I could use scissors. This is like a T-square, right? I could use a T-square to cut, right? Or I can use scissors, right? So that was one of the things I talked about upstairs. So let's just say I use scissors on this one and I cut it like right. And I like to free cut stuff. I just like I like my handiwork to sort of be in my art, and I cannot cut a straight line, right? So of course I could also just round the edges. Remember how we talked about that? I mean, I just know that I don't cut straight. I never have, like even in elementary school, like I just don't, I couldn't hold my scissors right. I mean, I was just like really a hot mess. So, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm managed. All right. So I could go rounder, right? So this is like vintage. This always reminds me, remember those classy old vintage frames that are like round on the edges? So I kind of like it rounded, right? So that's an option. It's just gently rounded. And of course, none of my shit really matches, but that's fine. And I kind of like that it doesn't match, right? So, and I'm not sure I love this bowing out, so I could just trim it, right? But this is just really part of the artistry. I mean, you know, I like that it's like tabloidy. I like that the edges are round. I'm just gonna go with it. Okay. Now I'll do 3 intentionally different treatments. So if I'm gonna tear with the T-square, I'm gonna hold the T-square straight, right? I'm gonna put it over the print and I'm gonna pull, right? Pull, right? And I'm getting this really cool, like cut. I'm getting this really funky bumpy line, right? From the tension of pushing with the T-square and pulling, right? And for this one, look, I have a nice outside edge, right? So I could just leave the white on there, right? And if I want it to be more equal, I can trim it, you know, with the scissors. Okay. So now I have 3. I have one that I rounded the edges. I have one that I hand tore. Let me talk a little bit more about hand tearing. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's not perfect, but I do like the white, like you said. Like sometimes I think that an image needs a frame. It needs white. It needs neutral space around it, like for whatever reason. Some pieces, you know, look good tearing. So you can free tear like this even. You can free tear it too towards yourself, towards like up. You can also free tear back. You could also free tear by folding, right? So if you free tear by folding, you literally, you know, you're folding and then folding and then folding and then tearing, right? And now I missed my fold, but that's okay. But whatever. I mean, I can do it again, but I sometimes like a shape like this, right? And I actually even, so what I'm going to talk about too is if I make an odd shape of the paper, I can take the image out of the canvas. So I can just sort of start to get rid of this line and I can make this like a non-specific, yeah. I can extend right over. So we'll talk about that. All right, I'm gonna fold this side. And maybe because I kind of like the way this one goes like in like this, so I could try, again, like pulling, you know, this way, you know, that's kind of nice too, right? And it's nice how, yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna go for sandpaper. Okay, so I know that I'm interested in taking this one like out of the frame. So what I might do is just start to break down this, take the sandpaper and just start to break down this rectangle. Right, so I'm just attacking. I'm like it's like just attacking I'm attacking the rectangle. Right, just all of these, any straight line, like where the print meets the paper. I'm just gonna start to rough it up. Right. Okay.
Ooh,
so
cool.
Right. So the sandpaper is cool, right? And I'm starting to just get rid of the frame. All right. And then the sandpaper. So if I also wanted to go like behind her, I can make this sort of like a text, like she's on a textured background. Oh, wow. Right. So that's just, this is just ultra fine sandpaper. Okay. And I tend to like to give all of them like a little, it's like burning and dodging. Yeah. So like for your very dark images, if you wanted to somehow like lighten them up or make them look like they have lace in them or something. Yeah, I have that one too. That block is awesome. I have that block too. I love it. This one is so cool. This is a great tool. This is a great tool because also it has, is that the one you just had?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, so it has fine on probably one side and like super coarse, right? And medium. So if an image is very light like this, there's nothing really to scratch. Like it's just white. It's not going to really do anything for me. But like down here where there's a lot of black, right? Or in the fabric that's very dark, that would be a good place to sand, right? Also, like the blue might be nice to sand because then it'll be like blue and white, right? So I'm adding another color. And you can do, look, even for the sanding, like the way you sand, right? You could sand in a circle, right? Like a circle, or you can do, you know, like a circle or semicircle, right? Or you can do a crosshatch, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, right? That's interesting, right? 1, 2. I really do actually like the crosshatch. And each of these motions, right, is very different. I mean, look at look at that. That's just so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, that's like adding fabric to it.
It's like adding, yeah, like burlap or canvas, right? And we're going to talk about that. So I I really like to talk about your physicality. Like I like to talk about, so look at me. So I talk to my little kids. I teach 5th graders in North Philly. And I'm like, you guys, I want everybody to draw a circle, right? So if you're drawing a circle, yeah, you're moving like this, right? If you're drawing a straight line, you're moving like this, right? If you're zigzag, you're like this, right? Curvy, you know. So it's like that same kind of motion,
And yeah.
physicality, right? And they all have different meaning. Like, so when you're in a circle or creating a circle, that's like a more unifying gathering, right? A crosshatch, you know, or an X, that's violent. That's right. So, right. So we could write a list. You could write like a vocabulary list almost of what these shapes mean to you, you know, and then when you see art that's all like circles and flowy, you're like, you think of like eggs and birth and like growing, like nurturing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's visual vocabulary. And then you get to add like the physical part to how you're feeling and what you're putting on, because now you're taking your photographs to another level where you're manipulating them. You're physically manipulating them. Okay, so I got 3 that I'm working on here. Oh, I got 3. Okay, I'm not gonna work on that late one. And I'm gonna sand. All right, so you're working on them?
Yeah, I'm cutting my edges off with
Okay. Oh, and don't forget about the mask. Do you have the masking tape?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do one. Let's mask one. Let's mask one. I gotta find. I have a whole. Right, so you can decide too which masking tape you like better. Like, you know, you can do 1 inch. I mean, this is all I have right here. The other thing I do, Erica, is I take the masking tape like this and I tape it to my body to remove half of the adhesive. Right, so look, I might just take like 4 pieces and just tape them to myself so that they don't pull the paper apart. So I want to wear it out. I want to dirty the adhesive a little. You could also put them on your table. Like this looks funny, I'm sure.
So I got what size is it? It's a thinner one. It's not as thick.
That's okay. This is all I can find, right? I'm just going with the flow. I have thinner ones too. And this one's gonna go, it's fine. So then look, if I'm gonna mask, yeah, we look so cute, right? All right, I'm gonna go right up to the outside edge and I'm gonna put this right here. And that means I'm gonna keep this clean, right?
Ooh.
And it's also kind of nice to mask it to your table, and then you can just pull it up to make sure that's not lifting the paper off. Okay. Okay, so remember the sandpaper was like burning and dodging, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you know about that from darkroom stuff, right? It's like dodging. Burning is adding light, making something darker. So it's really like dodging. Burning is making something darker, and dodging is making something lighter. Okay. All right, so I have this, I have lots of masking tape. But you know what's cool is like, look at the one with the masking tape. You can kind of see how pretty it would look like with a big white mat around it, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
It does look nice. Okay. So the other thing that you can use sandpaper for is getting rid, right? So do you see how like there's like a tiny little bit of a windowsill here?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I can just use literally use the sandpaper to kind of just get rid of that information, right?
Distracting. Yeah.
So yeah, if there was like something, I don't know, in the photo that you didn't want there. Okay. I gotta get some wax to melt here.
Oh, yeah. Let me add my wax.
Yeah, definitely add your wax to your hot plate. And when you're done with your edges, we'll talk about the gesso for a second. And then we'll move on. We'll move on to waxing.
You said 175. It should be at.
Yeah, I go 175. Sometimes I go up to 200. You just don't want it to be like smoking.
Okay.
Yeah, and you want to, oh, your brushes are brand new. So what happens what happens after you start waxing a couple times is that your brushes are hard, right? So you want to get these guys softened up. Like right now you're lucky because your brushes are not waxed. So they're not a problem, but in the future, right? It'll be a problem because they'll be waxed. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna put these on to melt. And as soon as these brushes are softened up, I can start to demonstrate. Oh, but let's do the gesso. So.
I had another gesso I was gonna show you, and I don't think it's it because I was going to paint a backdrop that I have, but I never got. Is this it?
That's still, that's just regular gesso. That's gesso. This is encaustic gesso, which is supposedly made for priming under wax. So I don't know, like, I think it just has some other ingredients in it and it doesn't have, it's not just pure acrylic. The thing about acrylic is that it's plastic. So wax is organic. I mean, wax is from Mother Nature. I mean, it's man-made. It's not man-made. It's organic. So you want to mix organic things with organic things is what I'm trying to say. They are they're stable together. If you put it over something plastic, it can't bond. Now, I mean, I think you can use it today because we're doing just works on paper. Now you could also, since you have a substrate, you could also glue one today. Glue to the board. You want to glue one of the photos to the board. So do you want to pick one? Yeah, one of the Yeah.
Pick one of my images to put on the board.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's what. Okay.
That's what I said. Yes. Yeah. Pick an image to go on the board.
Oh.
Pick one
Okay.
to glue to board.
Where I lost it.
Uh-huh.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna want, did you get a glue? Did you have like a PVA glue?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want me to, which one are you gonna put on the board? I would put the lightest ones on the board. I think the more you do this, I think you'll come to realize which of your images you like better with Encaustic. But for whatever reason, I think you'll like the lighter, higher contrast ones. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So it's a little bit bigger than the board. Should I just leave it?
So take the board, put the print flat on the table, take the board on top of it and lay it over, and then you're gonna cut it. Yeah. Turn it face up. Yep. There you go. Yeah. So figure out how. Yeah. Does it match?
Yes.
Okay. So then you're gonna trim it. So do you have a razor blade or?
Yes.
Okay. So you're gonna trim it. So what I do, Erica, is I put my hand in the center. Yep. And then I go around with the razor blade. Yep. You want to press hard, hold it down.
Should I try to tear it?
You can hand tear it too. Yeah. But it doesn't look like you have a lot. You know what? It looks like you don't have enough
room
for there to grab it. You really need to like grab it. Yeah. There you go.
How much of this wax should I add into the pan?
Not that much. Just like just fill it like an inch.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a ton because it's gonna melt when it liquefies. It'll melt down and fill the pan.
Okay.
I mean, you'll start to just get used to how much wax you need, depending on what you're gonna do or how many pieces you're gonna work on.
Okay.
Oh my God, do you have a bird?
It's right outside the window.
Oh my God, it sounds like you have a parrot there. That's so cute. You have like a fan.
It's really nice, except when they come like at 2 in the morning and they're looking for their significant other.
Oh, then they're upset.
Yes, they all night are calling for each other.
Oh my God. They're like, I want to go to bed. Why are you not here? Like, get over here right now. I'm tired of waiting for you.
I'm like, listen, lovebirds, get it together.
Oh my God, you're ruining my night.
Okay, I added the wax.
Okay, so I'll show you how I glue. So do you happen to have do you have a paper towel?
Yes.
Okay, so I I sometimes use like a foam brush, but you could also just use like a paper towel. And you're gonna, I put the glue on the board. Yeah, you have a foam brush? Yeah. Okay. Oh God, they're so cute. Okay, so I'm gonna do something kind of wacky. So I have these I just have these two panels like this. So what I'm gonna do is, and I've been dividing these, so I'm gonna put her on two, and then I'm gonna cut her apart. I'm gonna cut her. So it's just kind of fun sometimes, you know, whatever, put pieces. I mean, I've thought about like making a bunch of these and then like making it like a puzzle piece. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my glue. All right, so actually I have a nice big foam brush. Okay, so I'm just gonna take, this is my PVA glue. Wait, I think this one might be open. Hang on, I don't want to open that one. Oh yeah, this one's open, hang on. So do you have like, yeah, you have like the needle nose. So I just go like this. I just go on it, you know, and like loop it. You know, like it's kind of fun just to do this, like make a bunch of designs.
Oh, I think I need to make a hole.
Yeah, you have to cut the tip of that off.
Oh,
Yeah, and then
there we go.
Yeah. And it shouldn't dry. Mine doesn't clog up or get, and then I'm just wiping it smooth. I'm just wiping it smooth with the foam brush. And you want to make sure you have full coverage, right? So if you have your panel looks nice and smooth. Like this wood is not as smooth as yours, but yeah, you're having a better time. Like my glue is like going into because this is like, you know, Home Depot wood. This isn't an art panel.
Oh,
So, and that's fine. I mean, you could use whatever you want. And you can also use, if you decide to buy any of that dye bond, you can
yes.
also use the PVA glue on the dye bond.
Ooh, I really want to try that.
I know. You know what's really cool about it is it always just reminds me of like a tintype or like one of those sort of metal photographic processes. And it's like a hard print. It's like, because it's thin. It's nice that it's thin. The thing I like about the panel though is that you don't have to frame it. You know, like it's done. Whatever, you know, when it's finished, it can just go right on the wall, you know. Okay, so wait, watch me for a second, Erica. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna line it up, right? And I'm gonna line it up, and this matte papers are usually pretty cooperative, and they go right on, and you can kind of just like, you shouldn't have to like brush out the air bubbles.
Okay.
Like, or squeegee out the air bubbles. You should be able to just go with your, you know, the palm of your hand and smooth it out, right?
All right.
Okay. And I'm gonna go, because I want to cut her in half, right? I'm gonna do the Houdini here. So I'm gonna cut her in half. I'm gonna take her over here and cut her in half with the razor blade. My poor girl. Cut her in half. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, I cut her in half, and now I'm just gonna add a little bit more glue. Okay, so we can put these to the side, and we're not going to work on these today. We'll work on these next week or Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. But look, it looks kind of interesting, right? I mean, that she can be like, you know, you could even like, she could be like this. I could.
Oh my God, that is so flipping cool.
I know, it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, and it's almost like the space in between is kind of interesting. Now you could even add, like another panel,
Yes.
you know, that's plain or something else in between. I mean, why not, right?
You could be, oh my gosh.
And
You
like
can-
the look in her eye too, it's just like, why are you doing this to me?
How dare you?
What is going on? What happened to my insides? Where's my middle? Okay, but like, yeah, you could have something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, even if you have like a platter of food, because it's a section of her
Yeah. Oh, take a picture of a platter of food and put it. I love it. It's so cool. All right. So that's just like, I mean, creativity, right? That's why we love it. That's why we love it, right? So there's always more than one. Okay. So you glued one. Do you have one ready to paint? So I can just give you a little, oh, and the gesso. Let me demonstrate the gesso. Okay. So with the gesso,
I'm gonna have to order it because they didn't have it at the store.
that's fine. Okay, so I could do a couple things. So like this one, I could play off the whiteness by adding more white. And I can, the thing about the gesso is that you can make it, you can start thinking about building up, right? So we've talked about shaping, we've talked about scratching. Now we can talk about like raising the surface up, right? So think about like, yeah, like I'm gonna raise, right? So this is smooth. I'm gonna start to raise it up and manipulate it. All right, let me see if I can get this open. So you can use any type of paintbrush for this or paper towel. The hard thing for me is that it's wide. Oh, there, I got it. Okay. And this stuff is reactive. This is the reason that I like this is it's reactive to heat. So it'll bubble and burn like a marshmallow, which is crazy. So here's a paper towel I'm gonna use, and I'm also gonna grab, I could use my foam brush or another type of paintbrush. Okay, I could also use a stencil. So
A stencil.
a stencil, yeah. So I wanted to, I'll just go with this one. So this is kind of a funky stencil, but it's like a reverse stencil.
Let me see. Turn this computer around. Checking on my wax at the same time.
Okay. So here's a stencil. This one's kind of cool. It's a little like lacy. All right, here's a stencil. Here's the paper towel. Right, here's some of my paintbrushes. And then I'm just gonna wipe the glue. I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna use this foam brush that I just used for glue. So hold on. All right. I'm gonna use this paintbrush. And so here's the gesso, right? And I'm gonna just put the white flowery stencils in the background. Right. So I'm just gonna, and I'm just kind of playing, right? This is sort of gonna be invisible. And why is it gonna be invisible? Because it's the same color as the background, right? So, but what's gonna happen is it's gonna,
Yes.
I can put it on fairly thick, you know, like thick, like, and I can just start to sort of make like this is a wallpaper. Like I like to think about like wallpaper, you know, like cool vintage floral wallpaper back here. Okay. So do you see how I got like that kind of thickness and pattern, right? And so maybe I just like it there, and then I could go the reverse of that, like over like here. So it's like a circle here, right? And then I can do a circle here. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, right? So, and I'm not looking to like perfectly render. I'm never really that interested in the actual stencil pattern itself, and just sort of like piggybacking off of it to kind of give me some fun texture, right? All right, and then I need this to dry. I can't work on this anymore till it's dry. So some of the things I use the heat gun, right? Did you get a heat gun or a torch?
Yes, I'm borrowing my husband's.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so I have texture on both sides like this. I'm going to use the heat gun, and I'm going to heat this up. And what happens, like on high, I think you can see it, is that it starts to like bubble. And if you really hold this here longer, you can also like brown it, like literally like, it's kind of like the alchemy of it. You can kind of cook it a little bit. You see how it's bubbling up?
Ooh, I see it.
You see it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then
That
you can
looks so
dry
cool.
it. And look how three-dimensional it is, right? So it looks like lace, right? Or like a spider web, or like barnacles on a rock, right? Or fungus, right? Like on a tree. Right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like any or all of those sort of organic. Now the other thing that you could use this for would be to like get rid of a background. So say you had, oh, that's funny. There's like some kind of paint in there. Say you had, and you see how I can brown it too? Like I'm kind of like overheat. Do you see how it's starting to turn like a little bit yellow?
Yes.
So it's fun. You can actually like burn it. I mean, I could like really burn it. Like if I held it here long enough, I could actually like.
Ooh, yeah. I see it.
Right? Okay, so it's so like even in just like that very, like look at that. That's so cool. It's like,
I
right?
love it.
It's just very beautiful, very simple, really just. So I'm gonna put this one to the side, let that dry. Okay. So the other thing you could do, like for this one, because I feel like the pink and the brown are sort of like competing, I could just make one whole side of this white to kind of like lighten it, right? So literally I could like get rid. It's kind of like I could take her out of this environment, right? So like if you ever happen to, this is like, once I started learning how to do this, Ericka, I realized that I didn't care if my model was like in front of like a car, right? Like, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just stopped caring about like the shit in my studio, or if like there was a chair. I was just like, it doesn't matter, because when I print it, I can paint it. You know what I mean?
Manipulate it any way you want.
I can manipulate it any way I want. So it's sort of like it caused this like major like relaxation, like lack of uptight. You know, like I just wasn't as uptight about certain things anymore.
Which is awesome.
Well, it just, not being uptight just sort of opens doorways to other things. You know, it's
lets you relax and be just playful.
right in the moment, playful, accepting. Like it just brings on other possibilities. Okay, so here I am, like I really just outlined her, and then I can kind of just play, right? So, and these types of underpaintings I just think are really fun, and they sort of get my brain just to like let go of whatever it was I had, and sort of just start to open the door to like what else this could be. You know, and then like brush strokes, right? How you move your hand, like how you brush, right? Because this is like such an interesting medium, this encaustic gesso. It's so pretty and soft, right? And I can also see how I'm also just kind of getting rid of the rectangle, right? Remember how I wanted to get rid of the rectangle? So this is like the perfect way to get rid of the rectangle too, right? And this, you can dilute this gesso. You could also tint this gesso, right? So if you wanted to add watercolor, you can dilute it by adding a little bit of water to it to make it like more like a wash. And you can also tint it. Okay. So we have like 10 more minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and wax something just so that maybe you want to wax today at home. Okay, but that looks kind of cool, right? So she no longer looks really like she's in a room. It's sort of like she could start to be going like outside, right? Or somewhere else, right? I mean, I could really get rid of more of the ground over here. But I'm a little bit afraid sometimes to get rid of my horizon line. Just because I like to use it to keep me like balanced, like so that I know where the background is and the foreground, you know, so I don't get like too outer space. Okay. So I'm gonna wax one and then I'm gonna go because it's almost 3 o'clock. But then you should wax if you have time. Do you have time to wax?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So I'm gonna get you started waxing, and then you can play around with that, and then we'll wait till Friday to learn about hand coloring the wax, right? Okay. Did you buy pigment sticks?
Yes.
Okay, good. And did you buy any encaustic paint? Like the little colored wax? Those are the pigment sticks. Perfect. Yep. And did you buy wax oil sticks? Perfect. Yep, those are great. Did you buy any encaustic paint? So encaustic paint is it's actually paint, but in the form of wax. So it looks like this. It actually looks like this. It's like hard.
Whoa.
This you would melt. You would melt it just like the wax medium, and then you mix it with the wax medium. I'll send you an email. Remind me. Okay. I'll send you a couple links. If you want to buy some starter kit, like a sticks, for Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 things I need to buy is the Encaustic Gesso.
I'll send you the Encaustic Gesso and a starter set of Encaustic Paint. And because you're mostly doing black and white, you might want to buy like black and white Encaustic Paint, because then we could just play around with how you can use them to work with your photos better. Okay. And Encaustic Gesso. Okay. So I see that you had some brushes. I use a bunch of different brushes, and the thing about my brushes is basically the size. So this is a big fat 4-inch brush. This is your average brush. This is like an average. This is like a 2-inch brush, right? And then I have a little brush, which is like a 1-inch hake. And then I have also wood staining brushes. So they're kind of fun. These are like these are also organic, but you buy these like at like the furniture store, and they're usually very uneven. But what I do is I actually trim them with scissors. I give them haircuts so that they're smoother. I mean, you can do it whatever you want, and you'll find a brush. You'll probably find a brush that you like the best. But watch me paint, because I'm gonna show you different brush strokes with different brushes. Okay, so here's I'll do the big fat one first, okay? Now if this was my, I was gonna make a piece of art, I would probably take the big fat one and I would go right over
Her.
the center, right straight over her. And the reason I did that with the big fat one is that this is the smoothest, it's the biggest, right? So when I was just going like this and straight, it's very smooth, like glass. But then once I started to go like this, I'm creating texture. Okay, because I'm moving the wax, even though it's not totally hot, I'm basically like grooving it, right? And if I take a little bit more, I'm putting it on like this, where I'm moving it, that's going to give me lots of texture. Okay, so movement, right? One long sweeping stroke is going to be smooth, but then any type of back and forth is going to be textured, right? Okay, so that was that one. Here is this one, right? The 2-inch brush. So again, I'm gonna, here. I'm gonna put it in the wax, right? Here's the wax medium. I'm gonna pick it up. I could dab it one time on the side, right? And now I'm gonna go, instead of vertical, I'm gonna go horizontal, right? And I'm just gonna kind of like go back and forth, right? And this is gonna give me a totally different, right? This is not gonna be smooth, it's gonna be textured.
Yes.
Right, because they're overlapping, right? Exactly what you did with your hands, like sign language. That was perfect. And even I'm missing a spot, right? Right? Do you see how like right here I'm missing a spot? But like I don't care. Like that's cool. Like I like it. Like I'm gonna just leave that. Okay. So that's the 2-inch brush. Here is the one. Now this one's dirty. That one's dirty. Here's the short guy. I always call him the short stubby guy, right? All right, so here's the short stubby guy, and I'm gonna go crazy with him, right? You can see, because the bristles are so firm, right? Look at that texture, like it's crazy. It's literally like, burlap, like we were talking about, right? And I can add more. And then the longer I brush too, Ericka, the longer you brush, right, the more texture. And what I really like about this piece is that I have like 3 different types of wax. You know what I'm saying? Like I have very, very rough. I have super smooth
On her.
velvet, like right through her chest, like right in this like heart area. And then I also have like this like coming in on this side, right? Okay. So after I have this, there's a couple things I can do. One is I can fuse it lightly, right? So fusing it just means like heating it up just till it's shiny, just like a little bit, right? Like fusing it. Now, if I keep the heat on there longer, I could melt it, right? And melting makes the texture go away.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might not want to melt it. Like if you melt it, you're gonna get rid of all your texture. So I just lightly fused it, and then you have to wait. Like if I touch it right now, all the wax is just gonna come right off. So that's another reason too that I often like to work on more than one piece at a time, is so I could possibly even just say, yeah, I just hit this one with a heat gun. I'm going to put it over there and I'm going to wax the next one so that I don't ruin it, right? Or overdo it, right? Okay. So then this thing I'm going to show you just real quick before we go today, this is scraping back, right? So these are a couple scraping tools. I don't use razor blades on paper pieces. When I see you next time, we'll work on your board. And then you could use a razor blade. But for this, I use like a pottery tool, right? So I can just start to like clear her face. Like if I wanted to just like take the wax off
her eyes.
Yeah, I could take it off her eyes. I could take it off her forehead, right? So I'm just gently, right? I could also take it off her thigh. I could smooth it down here off her leg a little bit, right? I could also like maybe, you know, smooth, if I wanted to, you know, clear an area, if there was something here I was interested in, I could take it down and clear it. I mean, I intentionally made all this texture, so I don't feel like I need to take it away because I wanted it, right? But if I didn't want it, I could definitely teach you or talk to you about how to get rid of it, you know? And if I really wanted to get more off, this is a palette knife. And what I like about the palette knife is that it's
Flexible.
bendy. So if I wanted to kind of scrape, you know, without cutting the paper, but kind of like on a curve, I can kind of use it like this.
See why.
Right?
Maybe I should return this one for a round one because mine is a straight edge.
No, I love that one. No, just get more. Just get more tools. No, don't return it. I have that one too. That's my favorite one. Don't return that one. Right? And look, I could even like, do you see how her hip is right here? So like just like make her hip pop out, I could just thin the wax. And this goes right back to what I showed you earlier with the wax paper, is that the thicker the wax, right, the blurrier that part of the image, right? Because you're looking now at the.
Do you have to scrape when it's still like warm, or I can start scraping?
No, I like to scrape when it's cold. I do not scrape when it's warm. Okay. So, I mean, so that's that. I mean, I'm happy with it, and I was just gonna kind of let it go. Now, this color came from my brush being dirty. Like this color.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I don't tend to worry about stuff like that.
It looks like cement.
Yeah, it's like a nice like beigey color. It's nice. And it's kind of nice too because the wax is a little bit yellowy. And then on the blue photo, it's kind of nice. It's making it like a little bit like sea green, like very faintly green, very faintly green. I know, it's just kind of pretty just like that. Okay. So I'm gonna run because I need to go run an errand. Go out into the world. But I will see you on Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So because my wax is hot, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna sand
I think you should definitely keep painting. You have a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Oh, I love that picture of that kid. That's great. It looks, oh my God, is that a girl or is it a boy?
It's a girl.
It's a girl. Wow, it's beautiful. Wow, it's really beautiful. Yeah, I mean, you need to figure out too how you like the wax with the black. And don't get hysterical because I'm going to show you how to get them back together. But at first they're going to feel like they're breaking up. So just look at them as individual layers and then we'll merge them back together by using the oil paint. You basically have to coat it again with black to make the wax black. Well, to get it yeah. But have fun. I mean, just play.
Sand and add a layer.
Yeah. And I will email you tonight with the YouTube link to the recordings.
Okay.
And the link to the Encaustic Gesso and link to a couple Encaustic paints.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I hope you had fun.
I did.
Okay.
My voice is like this. Study.
I know. Go play now before you forget what I said. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.